Hi everybody, this is Crystal. So today I'm going to show you how to make this puff stitched slouchy hat. It really didn't take much time at all, and I think it turned out really good. I really like it. Turn it over here. The yarn I use is a Lion brand Scarfy yarn, and what it is, it's a number 5 bulky, and it is a acrylic wool blend. Now you don't have to use this type, but I would definitely, if you're going to follow me, I would definitely use some type of regular bulky yarn. Then there's 312 yards in this skein, and one skein was enough to do one hat. And then you're going to need 2 different hook sizes. You're going to need a size, let's see, oh sorry, move my camera around. You're going to need a size K, which is a 6.5 millimeter crochet hook, and then you're going to need a J, which is a 6 millimeter. Okay, we're going to start off with the K, the 6.5 millimeter, to do the puffs, and then later we'll use the J to do the brim of the hat. So go ahead and start off with a slip knot on your hook. Oh, the color of this yarn I'm using is called Forest Black, in case you wanted to know that. Okay, you want to start off with the chain of 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we're going to slip stitch into our first stitch to form a ring. Like that. And now we're going to chain 1, and now we're going to work 8 puff stitches through the ring, and I'll show you how we're going to do the puff stitches. It's going to be a yarn over, go through the ring, draw up a loop, and we're going to do that 4 times total. So that was 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now you should have 9 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And you want to yarn over and go through all the loops on your hook, pull it kind of tight, and chain 1. And that's our first puff stitch. We want to have a total of 8. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to yarn over, go through, drop a loop. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. 9 loops on your hook, yarn over and go through all 9, and chain 1. Again, yarn over, go in. Let's do that 4 times. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 loops, yarn over, go through all of them, chain 1. So we got 3 puffs now. You can keep sliding them over as you go. Again, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yarn over, go through all 9 loops, chain 1. Again, yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over, go through all 9 loops, chain 1. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to continue till you have 8 puffs total. Okay, I got my 8 puffs through my ring, and I want to make sure I chain 1 after that last one. And now I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into the top of my first puff. So I'm going to show you, sorry about this dark yarn. Here's my first puff. If you pull right at the top of it, right there, you'll see that's where you need to slip stitch into, right there at the top. And that will close that round off like that. and you can pull your tail, kind of close that circle up a little bit more. Otherwise, you could sew it together at the end. That's what I usually do. Now what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch over to the first chain 1 space. So it's right here in between the first 2 puffs. So what you want to do is just go ahead and slip stitch right over to it, just like that. And then we're going to chain 1. Now we're going to work 2 puff stitches into this chain space. So I'm going to yarn over, go into the space, drop a loop, and do that 4 times for my puff. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 loops. Yarn over, go through all 9. Then I'm going to chain 1. Now I'm going to go into that same, slide that puff over, and I'm going to go into that same spot and do another puff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 loops. Yarn over, go through all 9, and then chain 1. Now I'm going to find the chain 1 space in between my next 2 loops, right there. If you pull them apart, you can see it. And I'm going to do 2 puffs through there. So I'm going to yarn over, go right through the space, and do my puff. Chain 1, go into the same space again and do another puff. 2, 3, 4, go through all 9 loops and chain 1. Now in between my next 2 puffs, the chain space right there, I'm going to do 2 puffs into that space. So what I'm going to do is 2 puff stitches through every chain 1 space, or between every puff, all the way around. Chain 1, go back in it again and do it again. And when I get back around to the beginning, I should have 16 puff stitches at the end of this round. Chain 1, find mine in between my next 2 puffs, pull them apart, and that's where I need to be, right there. Chain 1, and then the next 2 puffs. So go ahead and repeat that until you get back to the beginning. Okay, once you make it back around and you have your 16 puffs, you want to make sure you chain 1 after your last one. And we're going to go ahead and slip stitch right here into the top of our first puff. Not this chain space, but right there into that space. The top of the puff. Slip stitch right through it, like that, and that'll end round 2. Now round 3, we're going to start by slip stitching right over into the next chain 1 space, and we're going to chain 1, and now we're going to put 2 puffs right here into this chain space. Chain 1, go back into it and put another puff. Chain 1. Now we're going to go to the next space in between the next puffs right here, and that's just going to get 1 puff in that space. Chain 1. Now the next space right here is going to get 2 puffs. chain 1, and the next space right here is just going to get 1 puff. And that is the repeat this time around. It's 2 puffs into the next space and then 1 puff. 2 puffs into the next and then 1 puff. And you just repeat that all the way around back to the beginning. Okay, when you make it back around, you should have ended where you just had 1 puff in that last space, and you should have a total of 24 puffs now. I didn't even count to make sure I had that many. Okay, now we're just going to slip stitch into the top of that first puff right there. And now in that round, and now we're going to do 1 more row of increases, so we're going to slip stitch right over to our first chain 1 space, and we're going to put 2 puffs. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to put 2 puffs into this space. Chain 1, put another puff. And then chain 1. Now we're going to put 1 puff in each of the next 2 spaces. So 1 puff into the next. And then 1 puff into the next. And then 2 puffs into the next. So that's the repeat this time around. So it'll be 2 puffs in this space, and then 1 puff, 1 puff, 2 puffs. And you can tell you have it right because wherever there were 2 puffs the row before, that's where you'll put 2 puffs again. So 2 puffs, and then 1 puff, 1 puff, 2 puffs. 1 puff, 1 puff, 2 puffs. All the way around until you get back to your starting point. Okay, once you make it back around, you should have a total of 32 puffs now. And again, we're going to slip stitch into the top of the first puff right here. And now after this, there's no more increasing. Every round is going to be the same. And we're going to start it by slip stitching over into your first chain space. And then we're going to, maybe if I can get this slip stitch working for me. Oh, my needle's twisted. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Slip stitch over into the first chain space. And then we're going to chain 1. Now we're going to put 1 puff into every single chain space all the way around. There's no more increasing now. Now it's just rounds of 1 puff stitch in every chain space. Chain 1, and then you go to the next one. So it's all easy from here on out. Just like that. And the more rows that you do, chain 1, you'll see the hat will start to take form. Might look kind of funny at first, but the more rounds you go, the more it'll start looking like a hat. And at the end of every round, you should have 32 puffs, and then you just slip stitch into the top of your first puff right there. And then you slip stitch over into your chain space and go around again, working 1 puff in every stitch all the way around. And you want to do 16 rows of 1 puff in every stitch. 16. So 16 plus the 4 we already did, you'll have 20 total. But 16 rounds of 1 puff in every stitch. Okay, after you get done with your 16 rounds of the 1 puff stitch in every one of the spaces, starting from the very first round, you should have a total of 20 now, because we did the 16 and then we had the 4 rows in the beginning where we did the increases. Now what you want to do is you want to switch to your 6mm hook. That's just going to make the brim of the hat a little bit tighter around the head. And picking up where you left off, I just slip stitched there into my first, how I ended every round, into my first puff stitch. Now what I'm going to do is chain 1, and I'm going to go right back into that same stitch, and I'm going to put 1 double crochet. And now I'm going to work 1 double crochet in every space around. So I'm going to go right into this whole space here, this chain 1 space, and work 1 double crochet. And then the next, I'm going to work a double crochet into the top of this puff stitch. So if you take it and you pull it, you can see the top of it right there. So I'm just going to go right into the top of it and work 1 double crochet. And then right here in the next space, 1 double crochet. And then right here into the top of the next puff, pull it down, pull it apart. You can see it really good like that. Right there, 1 double. And then in the next chain space, 1 double. And then in the top of the next puff there, 1 double. And I'm going to continue this pattern all the way around, 1 double into the next space until I get back to the beginning. Just putting 1 double crochet in every one of the chain 1 spaces and in the top of every puff that we did. Okay, when you bake it back around to the beginning, you want to make sure you should have 64 double crochets. You want to make sure you go into this last chain 1 space. You don't want to forget that one. And now we're going to slip stitch into our first double crochet. Not the chain 1, but the first double crochet. Like that. And now we're going to chain 1, and we're going to work 1 double crochet right back into the same stitch. So right back into the same spot. Now what we're going to be working is front post double crochet and back post double crochet. That'll give the hat a little bit of ribbing around the rim of the hat. So we're going to do a front post double crochet into the next stitch. So what we do is we yarn over like we're going to do a double crochet, but instead of doing it into the top, we just go right around the post of the stitch like that, and then we double crochet like that. Now the next one is going to be a back post double crochet. So we yarn over and we go from the back of your work like that, and then back around the post, and you can see the post is on the back of your hook, and then you kind of just go through and double crochet. Back post is a little bit more difficult than the front post, but for me anyways. Now the next one is going to be a front post double crochet. So we yarn over and go right around the post like that, and then double crochet. And then the next one is a back post. So we yarn over and we come at it from the behind like that, and then back around to the other side. So the post of the stitch is on the back. And then we go ahead and do our double crochet. I always get hooked up on the back post like that. Now the front post double crochet, yarn over right around the front of the post like that, and then the next one is the back post. Yarn over, go at the stitch from the back, and then back around like that. Grab your yarn, pull it through, and then you do your double crochet. And what that's going to do is create some ribbing on the top of the hat. So we just want to repeat the front post double crochet, back post double crochet all the way around, until we get back to our starting point. Front post, and then back post. Just like that. Front post, and then back post. Just like that until you get back to your starting point. Okay, once you make it all the way around, you should have ended in a front post double crochet. You want to go ahead and slip stitch into that first double crochet, not the chain one, but the double crochet. And now what we're going to do is we're going to repeat that row again. So we're going to chain one, and then we're going to put one double crochet right back into that same stitch, and then we're going to start our front post double crochet, back post double crochet, repeat. So we're going to put a front post double crochet right around the post of this next stitch, and you can see it's the front post double crochet from the previous round. And then the back post is back there, so you yarn over, come at it from the behind like that, and then back around, and the post is on the back of your hook, and then you do your double crochet. So basically we're just lining up the post, and then you do a front post double crochet, and the next one is the back post, like that. I apologize for the dark yarn. Probably won't use this color again. Front post, and the next one is the back post. So you go at it from behind the stitch like that. So you just want to repeat your front post double crochet, back post double crochet all the way around, and all it is keeping these posts, the front post, lined up. If you flip it over, you can tell it's keeping the back post lined up. So go ahead and repeat that all the way around. Okay, once you make it all the way around again, you want to end it with a slip stitch into your first double crochet, and I'm going to chain one, and I'm going to repeat that row one more time. So I'm going to go ahead and double crochet into that first stitch, and then I'll start my front post double crochet, back post double crochet, repeat, just like we did in the last two rows. So it's just a repeat of what we did before. Front post, and then back post, front post, and then back post, all the way around until you get back to your starting point. Okay, once you make it back around, you want to go ahead and end it with a slip stitch into your first double crochet. I'm going to do one more thing just to make it look a little bit more finished. I'm going to go around it one time with a row of single crochet. So I'm just going to chain one, and I'm going to go right back into that same stitch and single crochet. And now I'm just going to put one single crochet in every single stitch all the way around. No more back post and front post or anything. We're just putting one single crochet into the top of every stitch until you get back to the beginning. Just like this. There we go. All the way around. Okay, when you make it all the way around, all we're going to do is slip stitch into our first single crochet, not the chain one, the first single crochet, and tie that off. Clip your yarn, hide your tails. I can't find my scissors right now, but that is it. That is all there is to it. I think it turned out really nice. This is a gift for my niece. I really like this yarn a lot. It's the first time I've used it, and again, I apologize for the dark color, but that's her green and dark green stuff's her favorite color, so I wanted to make it for her. And But that's it. It was pretty easy. I don't think it really didn't take much time at all. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to check me out on Facebook and Etsy. I'll put a link to all that stuff below in the description box. And until next time, have a good day.